Oh, and David is struggling with this car, and it looks as though it might actually all be over this time.
Yes, David Coulthard going to pull off track down at turn 4. The yellow flags are out as we wait to see one of the two Minardis make their pit stop.
Yeah, they are both running. They're one of the few teams that have got both their cars still running. You can see there at turn number 3 as well, or turn 4 really, that David has come to a stop. Alex Young, though, and Mark Webber still both running for Minardi. In fact, they're both in possible point-scoring positions.
You'd have thought David could have pulled the car off rather than doing that. I mean, having the track marshals go out on track, it is a yellow flag zone, so the car now getting pushed to safety. I suppose possibly with so few cars on the track, it maybe mightn't have been such a big issue, but I hate seeing a car static on a racetrack when there's an active circuit in use.
And interestingly, Ralf Schumacher was one of the few drivers that actually went back to Europe between Australia and this race. Most of them stayed out here to get fit. And look at this, Raikkonen's blown up.
That's a blown motor from Raikkonen. We assume it looks that way. It's coming through it's coming through the left bank exhaust, and it seems as if Raikkonen, he was squirming around in that last corner. Maybe he's losing some oil, and I think a lick of flame under there too, I saw briefly. So the second McLaren retires. Ted, what can you tell us?
Well, I've been looking at the mechanics who've been taking apart David Coulthard's car. Now they've been looking at the engine on Coulthard's car. Now I can't say for sure because I don't know, but it does look like it's a Mercedes-Benz engine failure for both of these cars now, but we don't know that for certain as yet, Martin.
Okay, well, I said yesterday that the paddock gossip is they're a little bit down on power, but he certainly didn't seem to lack power down the straights, but unfortunately he has lacked reliability, and we don't know for sure what Coulthard's problem was, but that pretty much looked like an engine failure, didn't it?
Kimi Raikkonen. So this is the second and we believe final stop. Oh, and he's retiring. Raikkonen has pulled out. He drove back into the pits. As a second pit stop, we thought that was a scheduled stop, but he's just driven straight into the pit. The garage will be closed immediately. It's normal for McLaren to put up the shutters. They will not want anybody to know or look and see what may have been the problem. Raikkonen looks rearwards, which indicates that maybe engine or gearbox related.
Now see if we can spot an... Oh, look.
There's what was that fell off? And whose car was it that fell off?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're looking at Nick Heidfeld coming through the chicane, but it was someone further ahead of him that had some part of the car fall off, and maybe that was something to do with Kimi Raikkonen's retirement. So out of 5th position.
Coming into turn 7 and 8. Another part of bodywork, and McLaren has shared a part of its bodywork, I think.
Panis on the move here. Olivier Panis trying to get past Frentzen. It doesn't quite come off, and Frentzen currently in 10th. Pound, it's rear wing of Raikkonen. It's the rear wing of Raikkonen. Well spotted, John. And McLaren rear wing. Well, we lost a Minardi rear wing. Was that contact? We didn't see anything. Who was behind Raikkonen? It was Jenson Button, and well, there's no evidence yet of any damage on his car.
And there we see the remains of that rear wing. And again, on the main straight, the fastest part of the circuit, Kimi Raikkonen driving around the racetrack. You saw him go around here.
Now let's take a look at the background. Watch for the McLaren.
There it is.
It's the rear wing.
It just literally fell off. That rear wing just almost seemed to tumble off the back of the McLaren. Again, Raikkonen able to keep the car in control. Maybe he had a presence of mind to sense something had gone wrong. He maybe felt it. There's the back of Raikkonen's car. You can see Irvine comes past as he makes his way back to the pits. I mean, it's... Again, the main support for the ring, that main beam that attaches to the gearbox is there. It appears that the problem, the left-hand side of that rear wing, the right-hand side wing end plate is just lying over. So whether, again, which I can't believe I've had 2 rear wing failures in the space of 4 hours here at the Spanish Grand Prix.
Very much a cause for concern. And the question is, John, what about David Coulthard? Is the team, seeing this, going to have to do something about David Coulthard?
I think the first thing to find out is, was there any contact that could have caused the parts in the car? They're just going to park the car. I think Kimi Raikkonen has decided we're not going to take part in any further races here this afternoon. Now, as you say, Ben, what are they going to do with David Coulthard? Is this a one-off? Was there contact with another car on the track? Is that a blow-up?
That's McLaren.
It is Kimi Raikkonen.
Again! Kimi Raikkonen again is a non-finisher. I can't believe this man's record this year.
And there's little flames flicking from the rear of the car as Mario Illen of Ilmore, the man who is responsible for the design and manufacture of these Mercedes-Benz engines, looks in disbelief. And Kimi Raikkonen, just speaking to the team, takes the steering wheel off, climbs out, and of course he must replace the steering wheel. It is mandatory to do so. as the marshals dump some of that extinguisher back on the back of the car. But Kimi Raikkonen race over at the beginning of the 6th lap.
He rushes across the track and will make his way back to pit lane, but the Austrian Grand Prix is all over.
Well, there's the blow up from Kimi Raikkonen. That went off. Well, fireworks haven't been any better than that.
That was a big cloud of smoke from the back of Kimi Raikkonen's car. Oh, and we've got an accident, and that's Schumacher, isn't it? Or it's Barrichello. It's Barrichello, I'm afraid, who's hit the back of Kimi Raikkonen. Raikkonen's in trouble as well. Raikkonen and Barrichello in the battle for 6th, and it looks as though contact has put them both out.
Raikkonen always on the racing line. Barrichello just too late, no way to slow down, and well, gets into the back of Raikkonen's Mercedes fairly heavily, gets the nose of his Ferrari up in the air. Let's look at the forward view of the situation. This one's down to Rubens. He made an error, a driving error. Raikkonen is the victim, so both drivers penalised for a great battle that was taking place for the 6th place.
Well, that is disappointment for the Brazilian after giving way in Austria. Now a mistake, a driving mistake on his behalf, and he's out, and both cars are in the pits now. Can they get them both out again? Are they sufficiently okay? They're having a good look. Look at that rear wing, John. It's moving a lot.
I think that wing, I think they've got to take the wing off and change it. It's for Kimi Raikkonen back in again.
Yeah, it's Raikkonen who's come back in, so obviously, even though repairs have been made, the car is not right, and he's saying, no, don't take the steering wheel off. I think maybe we can still get back out there. Maybe it's only a minor problem.
David Coulthard looks like he's having a move now around the outside. Can he make it stick into this new turn 1? Late on the brakes, David. Late on the brakes, round. Oh, Montoya spins it.
And that's damaged Coulthard's steering.
He's broken his steering.
Yeah, and Montoya dropped it and just tagged Coulthard as he went past. And a broken steering and a broken left rear suspension also. Both cars. There he goes, Coulthard out of the race. So Montoya and Coulthard both out of the race. The first 2 retirements this afternoon.
Now day in here.
Oh, Kimi Raikkonen. So Raikkonen is out. Raikkonen was running in 10th place. Another engine failure.
But sad news for Kimi Raikkonen. Well, it all went wrong with the extra pit stops they made and poor tyre choice as it turned out.
Raikkonen's got a puncture, I believe. Left rear it is. That's the reason why Kimi Raikkonen was losing time. The left rear. He's picked up something, no doubt, in the tyre. Eventually has just said, I've had enough, and cried, and that's what you see. Look at it. Look, watch that left rear. And it already has gone down. Well, that was somehow or other he'd picked up a puncture. The tyre eventually loses the pressure. It superheats, and eventually it just says enough. So huge disappointment for Kimi Raikkonen and his chances of maintaining that 5th place.
No,
and
that's
a big
great
lock-up,
shame.
and that's it there. Well, that's the tyre, in fact, rather than the lock-up. Down at the hairpin bend.
They do look very worn, those rear tyres, John. If you will, that one. Look at the one on the other side.
Take it easy, Kimi. All you're going to do is tear the rear of the car and the suspension apart. He's got to stay out of the way as race leader comes through.
Look at the bits of rubber.
3 wheels on my wagon, and it's all over the place.
Into the gravel he goes. He's got nothing he can do about it at all. No grip on that side of the car. The yellows come out.
Good aerodynamics for the aerodynamicist. Got a good idea of how the underbody and the diffuser on the McLaren works. Replay that one a few times, guys. You might learn something.
He's got a left-hander coming up. At least he might be able to make it round there. But the 2 corners coming back into the pits are going to be hard work because they're 2 right-handers. Here was the moment where the tyre really started to shred. Watch for the bits of rubber here. They started flying off big time. There we go.
Not an off. There's an off. That's Mark Webber.
No, it's one of the McLarens, John. It's Raikkonen. It's Raikkonen who's gone off.
Is that the result of the brake problem? That's in turn, the final turn, the south curve. Coming onto pit straight, and I just saw the back wing, the black back wing, and Kimi Raikkonen. Look at the look on the faces of the entire McLaren team in the garage, just saying, well, you know, why was he doing that? He didn't have a problem and he wasn't under threat. All we wanted him to do was bring the car home. Well, give him marks for trying.
Yeah, and of course, this just shows how Grand Prix racing can lift you so high one week. 2nd place and nearly the Grand Prix win at Manicourt. And this time he's out of the race. And indeed, it's interesting looking down in the pit lane. Williams are preparing for a stop now. I wonder what that's all about.
Well, there we see Kimi well and truly backwards before he gets to the Sud curve, and that barrier very close to the edge of the track. Claimed Rubens Barrichello, and well, not many serious damage to the car. As you see, his foot hard on the brakes, and there the gravel not doing very much to slow the car down.
And what's this bit of clearing up still going on in the McLaren pit, or is there some other concern?
Well, Raikkonen's coming in. Raikkonen has got a problem. We picked that up on the exit. He's coming in, and we're looking at the times. Kimi Raikkonen, I think, is out of this race. He's going to come in and drive straight into the garage because that blue haze where we saw coming out of the left-hand side. Well, there's the blue haze. It is now an absolute, and that's how he's going to stop. He can't even make it back to the pits. So that's up at the top of the circuit at Lake Coombe, and Kimi Raikkonen's weekend is over with a bang.
That is such a shame. He had a run of bad reliability earlier on this season, lost an engine in Malaysia very dramatically, remember, also had an engine go at the A1 ring, but what a shame. Germany too, ultimately. Sorry, the British Grand Prix had an engine failure as well, but it's Raikkonen out after his great qualifying performance yesterday. So he clambers out, and it's just the end of a disappointing day. What it does do, of course, John, brings somebody else into the points.
Ralf Schumacher now comes into the points because he was running in 7th place, so he'll now be 6th, and Eddie Irvine will go up as well into 7th. And look at Kimi Raikkonen blow up, second race in succession. He suffered a mechanical failure. Kimi Raikkonen is out of this race on the run down to Parabolica. The reason why Kimi Raikkonen's Mercedes-Benz engine erupts. And that is a tragic and sad end for the young Finn. A troubled weekend. He also had a retirement for similar reasons 2 weekends ago in Belgium. Now we see, Kimi Raikkonen has blown up. Again. The problem that we had seen, we thought it was an engine problem. It didn't sound like it when he made his second pit stop, or first pit stop, but clearly it was a problem. Yet again, the Finn is out.
The 11th non-finish in 16 Grand Prix for Kimi Raikkonen. And similar to in Italy at Monza and at Spa, the last 2 Grand Prix, the Raikkonen seems to be getting all of the bad luck at McLaren Mercedes. He does not want any help. He's become very used to getting out of a Grand Prix car.
7, and all of a sudden, and just behind, indeed, you then point out Mercedes-Benz advertising, and well, it can't get more ironic, I think, than that.
Great shame. Villeneuve, we'll just take a look at some of the onboard. Well, this is where as he went past that engine blow up, and you can see that was Panis just going through, and that was the explosion, if you like, and the oil and water and muck being thrown out.
Yes.
And there's somebody else, McLaren slowing down.
Coming down the straight, and that is Coulthard.
It is, I think, Coulthard slowing down. Yes, it is. David Coulthard going very slowly indeed from 3rd position. What a disappointment. Panis is indeed being sent back out. They might have been able to reset the electronics. Let's hope that car's running okay. But David Coulthard, what a disappointment. In a strong 3rd place here, and it's all over for him.
Yes, there's no apparent reason. There's no certainly signs of it being an engine problem, which is what you'd first assume. So we have to wait and see, but maybe more electronics or possibly hydraulics. So that puts Takuma Sato now up into 6th place and in the points.
Yep, that would give Jordan 1 point. It would put them ahead of BAR. It would tie them with Jaguar now. Well, it's all happening, but it's at a very, very early stage of the race. We're only on lap number 7. And that's a surprise to see Coulthard out so early. It's usually Raikkonen who's had the mechanical problems.
Well, whatever the problem is, there is no question about working on the car. In the pit lane, it is directed immediately into the garage, and the doors will be brought down to preclude anybody getting an idea as to what has caused David Coulthard to retire after only 7 laps of this 53-lap Grand Prix.
So Panis back on track, but Coulthard out of the last Grand Prix of the year. All the hard work of free practice and qualifying, I'm afraid, has only lasted a few laps in the Grand Prix itself.